What's up and welcome guys to the YaBoiWilly YouTube channel. We are going to be getting into a fun topic today. We're going to be talking about the difference between New World Wars and Ashes of Creation Wars, and I could not be more excited to go into this. Obviously, if you guys know me, I'm heavy in the New World scene. I've been doing the wars here for a long time, and Ashes of Creation coming in here. They have their own war system. What's the difference? What does it mean? Let's compare it. Let's figure it out. So I'm excited. Let's go ahead and jump into it. I do want to say first though that this is not necessarily a full deep dive of the Ashes Wars. That's not what this is. We're just going to kind of do some comparisons. I know a lot more about New World. Obviously, we're learning about Ashes, and I'm not going to act like I know everything about it, but there's going to be some takeaways and things and comparisons made that I think will be interesting to you. So if you like it, don't forget to hit that like and sub at the bottom. Thank you guys. Let's jump into it. Now, I would like to go ahead and get into the New World Wars and just give a brief explanation to the people who might not know what a New World War is. A New World is an MMO that has been around for about 2.5 to 3 years. A lot of the draw to the game was actually because of the wars. It's mass scale PvP, and who doesn't like that? You have 50 attackers going up against 50 defenders. The defenders are obviously doing what they're supposed to, defending the territory, while the attackers are trying to take it. There are 3 points outside of the fort that you need to take control of. They pretty much work as capture points. You have to stand on them, and whoever has the most people standing on the point at the time, it just ticks up and then it goes down. If the attackers take it, and then it becomes a respawn point. So you're kind of catching my drift. It's self-explanatory. There's 3 points outside of the fort that the attackers take, and then once these points are down, you go to a fort fight, and then whenever you're inside of that fort, there's one singular point that you have to take control of, and then if the attackers can do that, they take control of the territory, which is cool. So what exactly do you gain from having control of the territory? It's got to be something awesome, right? Well, it is, but it also is a little lackluster at times, or at least it feels like that. You have some gold income coming in, which is nice. You like that gold. And I think, honestly, a big draw is just being able to see your company on the map. There's something awesome about seeing you and your boys out there on the map, seeing your guild crest, and just seeing how cool that is, right? That's awesome. Who doesn't like that? I will say, though, that is also one thing about that New World Wars that kind of is not the best, right? We haven't really seen much change. You're going to notice a trend with that when we think about New World Wars. These have been so stagnant and so samey for 2.5 years. The devs and AGS doesn't really seem too bothered to really change anything with them. So I do think that's why Ashes of Creation looks so enticing to a New World player, because the wars look pretty complex from what I've seen already, and I'm excited to go ahead and start jumping into more of what Ashes is about. Now, going into Ashes of Creation Wars, one thing I'm going to notice right off the bat is how there's multiple versions of war. It's not just a 50v50 battle for a territory. It does look like there's going to be different kinds of wars that you can actually declare on, from node wars up to a siege war, which siege wars, I think, again, not 100%, but I think can be 250v250, whereas node wars are a little bit smaller. And a node war is for different things. Right? A siege war would be taking the whole territory, whereas a node war is just the start. You're just taking resources. And right here, I got a little excited because I saw a test node war. Now, don't get too excited, guys. I got excited because I thought it might have been practice wars. You can see me in the corner. I'm stoked because something that us New World players have been asking for a long time was practice wars, where you can get that content without necessarily all the risk and not all of the super sweat that might entail behind it, right? So this is exciting, at least for the fact that we do have an opportunity to have multiple kinds of wars. That is confirmed. So that's already something that is pretty awesome about the game. Now, one thing you're going to notice here is the fact that this is a node war that requires victory points. And with these victory points, that's going to be determining who wins this battle. So whoever earns 1,000 victory points eventually wins the war. Kills give you points, and so does controlling points of interest. And we're going to see here in a minute exactly what some of the points of interest is. Right now, the goal is going to be harness the God Spike, which again is going to be a spot where you can go to on the map map, and you're gonna see that whenever they pull up the map here that, you know, whenever you get into this node war, it's not just you're taking control of the whole territory, it is just the beginning. So when they pull this up here, you can take a look, it's the beginning of the war, and it's exactly why this is kind of the start, right? This node war will turn into a whole siege if the attackers continue to win. At least that's my understanding of it. And we can see here that centerpiece is going to be the God Spike. As you can see, they're neighboring enemies here, and I think that's cool. So whereas New World is kind of like this 50v50, not a quick time event, but you know, you push for the war and you get the territory, or you fight for the territory, right? With Ashes, it looks like it's going to be more of a slow burn. You win a node war, you might win another node war, and then you might turn into a siege. Again, this is speculation. I'm not 100%. I'm sure, you know, we can iron out more of these details, but this is kind of just why I wanted to talk about this, right? A lot of people, if you're wondering what's the difference between New World and Ashes is, well, the Ashes Wars looks like it's a little more complex, right? It's just the start. It's not as just take the points and GG easy. It's okay, we got to start this war. We got to start this battle, and it's a slow burn, and every war might be different. You might be having wars with control points, and you might be having wars with victory points. You know, it's just, again, there's just more variety by the looks of it, which is interesting to think about. Now, as the attackers enter the territory and the zone, you can see that there's going to be some quest objectives up towards the minimap. For instance, bring imbued blood to the war camp from the highway hills, and bring imbued material to the war camp. The offense is going to have their own war camp that they can congregate at and bring their resources to. With this node war specifically, you're going to notice little dots, points of interest around the minimap here that you got to go to and receive some of these materials, right? And this is what's going to be very different from what a New World War is it's not just PvP. Now, the defenders are trying to get these resources as well. However, you know, your PvE Giga Chads might have more fun with it, right? They can, if they're good at killing certain enemy types, if they're sneaky, things like that. Like, there's going to be more variation. Also, you can see I'm getting a little excited about the dragon. I think it's cool that you can, in fact, ride dragons in a war. I believe they said that this is only going to be for the governor of only one person in the war. Pretty much the leader of the guild is going to be able to have that. That's essentially it. But you can take a look at the map here. These are going to be resources located around that you're going to want to consistently turn into your war camp, which I do think, as somebody who has shot called New World Wars and stuff, this I think will separate the people who are good at macro play from the people who aren't. You know, organizing your army and having people go multiple ways is going to be important here. You know, I think the commanders that are going to be able to, you know, split off their armies correctly to get as much resources as possible, as quick as possible, is going to be important. I think that's what's interesting. And this is what's weird about the node wars compared to New World 2 is you have these like progressions, right? It shows you the enemy progress up at the top and your own progress. And it's, again, it's just more layered. It's not just, you know, it's more, it reminds me more of like Alteric Valley from WoW, right? Like that's kind of the vibes that I'm getting. You know, it's kind of interesting in that respect. So as you can see here, this is essentially more towards of what the end game of what a node war might look like. It looks like the objective starts becoming to just channel the God Spike or defend the God Spike, which is that right there in the middle. It's what everybody's fighting over. And this is gonna be where things kind of get hairy, and in my opinion, things get fun. This is where I be having a blast. You know, you see dragons flying in here. It does look like the commanders have like a rally cry that like bolsters their squad, which is really cool. I like the way this guy's playing. He's like healing from the corner, you know, kind of out of sight, out of mind. You know, I think this is going to be very good for positioning. I think, you know, as an army, this could separate, you know, the good commanders from the bad commanders, right? I mean, if you can organize a solid crash with your dragon ability, you know, with your army, that could be the difference maker in a wipe of the enemies, you know. And I think that you know, these mass scale battles are going to be awesome. And I know I don't want to sound like I'm coping, but there's something really cool about this that I think is just, gonna be nice for especially the New World community. It does look like we are finally getting some variation in wars, and it's not from New World, but it's from Ashes. And this is just one of, from what to my understanding, many of versions of wars that are going to be in the game. And I think that's really cool. So I really wanted to showcase some of the combat here and kind of what the end game of the war would look like. Whereas in New World, you'd be fighting for that center point on the fort. It looks like Ashes, at least in this one, you're gonna be fighting for that God Spike, and you wanna try and channel it and or defend it. So pretty cool stuff if you ask me. You have dragons, you got big battles, you have layers when it comes to, the tier of the war, right? You're starting out getting resources, and then it turns into an all-out brawl for the God Spike. A little bit different from what we see coming in from New World. So yes, that's a little bit about Ashes and New World wars. Kind of some comparisons being made. I know we could have went more in depth, but let me know in the comments below if you want me to. I kind of wanted to get something out there that's kind of quick and digestible, just for the New World community and anybody else who's interested, right? I kind of wanted to showcase the differences that we are going to be seeing from an Ashes of Creation war and a New World war. And I didn't want to seem too negative on New World throughout the video, but the reality is when it comes to wars, nothing has changed in 2.5 to 3 years. So what can I say? I'm excited thinking that another game with mass scale PvP and that is similar with the war system. I'm excited for it, bro. I am. I can't help it. And I'm going to be there along the way. So don't forget, if you guys like the video, put a comment below what you want me to do next. If you guys want me to go more in depth, I will. If you guys want different kind of content with Ashes, kind of comparison to New World, let me know. I will. But I'm going to go off your guys' feedback. So again, if you like that vid, hit that like, hit that sub. It does support the engagement and my YouTube in general. Love you guys. You guys have a great night, and thank you guys for watching. Let go!